Hey, this is Lon. For the last 10 years, I've been compiling a list of my favorite mountain bike trails from all over the world. And I've finally taken the time to do a video where I talk about most of these trails and, most importantly, the ones that I think are the best in the world. Now, you can tell right off that I'm not a professional video producer, and if you follow my channel, you'll know that there are three main interests I have: mountain biking, jiu-jitsu, and spirituality. And even the people who I love the most aren't interested in all three of those. They're only interested in one of those, sometimes two. So I get it if this is not your thing. But my idea was to have something for you to listen to, perhaps while you're driving, and maybe take some mental notes of some places that you would like to ride. So a little background: I've taught in about 15 different states, taught mountain biking in about 15 different states and 3 different countries. I've ridden mountain bikes in a lot more states than that, and I think I've ridden mountain bikes in 6 different countries. I'm 59 right now. Well, I'm almost 59, and I've been on 2 wheels riding a bike ever since well over 50 years. So I really take my riding seriously, and I really want to take this list seriously for you in case you get any hints as to where you may want to go. I know it's not easy to get away and ride a mountain bike anywhere, and I'm grateful for my wife to have supported me in this endeavor the last 10 years. I take it very seriously because I'm an instructor and I want to be a good rider, and I want to ride all over the place, and plus it's fun. So let's get started. The way I look at this is I'm going to categorize the places in 4 different headings, and I'll call them trail environments. So a bucket list idea would be to take these 4 different trail environments and hit at least 1 or 2 trails underneath of each of those headings. And those headings are: first, the high mountains. This is just something I came up with, okay? The high mountains. The second one would be the desert riding. Third would be old growth forests. And then fourth would be the swamps. So let's start off with the high mountains. And I'll just talk about right off the bat my favorite place in the world to ride. My favorite place of all of the places I've ridden in the world is definitely British Columbia. I like, first and foremost, the Squamish area. And the reason why I like the Squamish area is because I love to ride huge, steep rock slabs. So if this is not your thing, if you're not interested in this type of riding, then I completely get it. This would not be your number one. But the place I like to ride the most in the world is a little park, relatively speaking, right? It's called Alice Lake, and it's right outside of Squamish, and you can find them on Trailforks, and they do a pretty good job of rating how difficult the slab trails are. And yeah, it's my number one. A group of my former students and I go back there every year and just ride for fun. We love it. While you're there, you definitely want to hit Whistler Bike Park. It's one of my favorite bike parks in the world. It may be number 2 on the list. I'll tell you why in a little bit, but it has always been number 1 up until this last summer when I got to go to Europe. Now, if you go, you need to go during a time when the trail, the top of the world, is still open in Whistler Bike Park. So in other words, you don't want to wait too late into September because it closes down. And I would highly recommend doing Top of the World Trail as part of your Whistler Bike Park experience. It was really amazing to do at least once. While you're there, just keep in mind, if it rains a lot, then it's always a good idea to go up to a town called Pemberton, and those trails run great in the wet. Just keep that in mind. A lot of people will ask me about North Shore. I have not ridden the North Shore, but my friends who've ridden with me in Squamish have, and those guys tell me that Squamish is much better riding than North Shore. My take on it probably is, if you're in Vancouver and you don't have the time to get all the way up to Squamish and Whistler, then hit North Shore. If you do have the time, then probably spend your time in Squamish and Whistler That's according to my friends. I can't say that for sure. All right, so that's the first in the high mountains genre of mountain biking, so to speak. My second favorite place in the world to ride is in the French Alps. I really struggled whether or not to put this first or second, but because I like the rock slabs so much, I put British Columbia first, and also because it is substantially cheaper and it takes less travel time to get to British Columbia from where I live in Alabama. But I do want to tell you about the French Alps. All right, so one of the things I did before my wife and I went on our 20th anniversary vacation to Europe is I checked with a lot of the acquaintances who I have who are pro World Cup racers and who've raced all over the world. And I asked them, in their opinion, what do they think is, where do they think is the best place to ride in Europe if you only have one day? And almost all of them agreed that the French Alps, specifically a town by the name of Morzine, France, is the best hot spot in Europe to ride if you only have one day. So what I did was I paid a guide so that I could get the type of riding that I wanted. And I asked that guide ahead of time, I said, hey, I'm really interested in some loam trails that maybe most of the public cannot access, or not, well, they can access it, but they may not know where the trails are. I want to be able to ride lift serve so that I can ride longer and I don't have to pedal up to the top and I can do more downhills. And so it was unbelievable. We rode 3 different bike parks out of the one lift in Morzine. Leger was one of them. I forget what the other one was, but we did 3 of them, and there were so many good trails that there's no way I would have found if I had not had the guide. You know, we'd be on a public bike park trail that everyone knows about that was super cool, super fun. All of a sudden we'd dodge out on the road, go down the road, hide behind, or not hide, but tuck in behind a guardrail into an area where there's a bunch of weeds, and next thing you know, hidden behind those weeds was just an unbelievably steep trail with lots of roots, lots of corners and everything, and it was superb. It was really, really good. So if you ever do get the opportunity to travel to Europe, I would definitely do the same thing. I'm going to go back to more high mountain biking, high mountains mountain biking areas later, but I want to get some ideas for the first 4 ecosystems out of the way in case you start to lose interest. At least you'll get a little something out of this video. So the second type of environment is desert riding. And you know, I used to have the whole enchilada in Moab at the top of my list, but then I rode Sedona, and I rode southern Utah, St. George and Hurricane, Utah. And to be honest with you, the St. George and Hurricane area trails, I like those better. I had a friend who was my guide in all of those areas, and I'd highly recommend, if you go to those areas, to get a guide so you're riding the best trails in the best direction. If you hit me up on comments, I can give you his name and contact information to do business with him. Hey, while you're in the Hurricane, Utah area, you might as well check out the first Red Bull Rampage site. It's really cool. You can ride there on some baby little drops and jumps, but you can also see the big old drops that the big dogs ride, and the big huge step downs and stuff. It's definitely worth checking out since you're so close. The reason why I like Gooseberry Mesa and the trails around southern Utah better is because you have exposure there, but not quite as much as exposure as you do in Sedona. In Sedona, a lot of the trails you ride there, you make a mistake, you die. You know, in southern Utah, you can get to exposure, and you can definitely die there. But a majority of the trails are not quite as terrifying if you were to make a mistake. And all of those places are like riding on Mars, whether you're talking about Sedona or southern Utah or Moab. So yeah, number 2 in the genre is St. George and Hurricane, Utah. Number 3 in the genre is what I'm just calling the old growth forest, right? You can call this many different things, but this is just the heading I came up with to easily remember it. And I'm thinking of the McKenzie River Trail in Oregon. So yeah, this trail is amazing. All of the different things you see in one trail. You start off by riding by one of the deepest volcanic lakes in the country, with a petrified forest at the bottom that divers love to come and dive and check out. It's volcanic rock, so you definitely don't want to lean your arms up against any edges of the cliffs beside you going around the lake. You go into old growth forest with trees just, so big all around you. Go by a aqua pool later on down. You have rapids right next to you. It's really an amazing trail to check out. So that would be the third, is what I'm calling old growth. And then the fourth is swamps, believe it or not. Yeah, a lot of people forget about Florida. Florida is a great destination to hit up in the winter. And my favorite place to ride of all the places I've ridden in Florida is Alafaya River State Park. It's not very big, but it's really cool what the the trail builders have done there. They've built some really neat, high quality jumps, and you got boardwalks going across swamps. You're almost guaranteed to see an alligator in the swamps. It's a great winter riding place. Now, I'm going to circle back and go more in depth into all of these genres of mountain biking, but if you're done listening to me and you want to have at least a few ideas, then you can shut the video off now. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a part 2 and part 3 and part 4, because this video is already getting to be about 10 minutes long. So I'm going to cut it off here. If you're interested in continuing to listen to some things I've learned, then pick me up in part 2 of Bucket List Trails. Thanks a lot.